Hey everyone, the Gia G01 and the Xing Shen Fire Phoenix, both derivated of the same blaster. In fact, the G01 is basically a complete clone of the Valkyrie, but are they really that equal of blaster? Because price-wise, they are not. I'm the owner guy, welcome Stag. Those two little clone. Yeah, the Gia G01 pump action Springer angle mag-fed blaster with Picatinny rail, priming grip, adjustable stock integrated in it. The Xing Shen Fire Phoenix pump action Springer with an integrated pump grip, angle magazine fed, and this is a 3/4 dart blaster, not a half dart like this one. They basically have the same shape, the same function, same position for the plunger tube, and same size, same diameter. Pretty much all the parts are interchangeable when it comes to plunger, pusher, plunger tube. The stock is virtually identical with all the positioning. Even the grip got the same deco line in there for both grip. To note, regularly the Fire Phoenix doesn't have screws on the handle. This is mine. It's because I opened it, I broke some of the pin inside, and I had to re-screw the handle. Very easy mod, take your time. I might show it to you how I did for this screw part. But while the G01 is really a clone, an almost carbon copy, even in its construction of the Valkyrie, but with some difference to make it unique. This one, what you see is what you get. There is some cosmetic difference that are made for some functionality and some design changes, so they are not completely a clone. Right off the bat, this G01 got a hybrid metal plastic barrel. This metal barrel got an inner plastic lining. It's sealing super great, it's accurate, but I'm not sure this is what I would like to use long term in my blaster. Plus, the diameter of this barrel is too big. It's not compatible with the standard 13 by 16 millimeter barrel that we have, while the Fire Phoenix come with a standard 13 by 16 millimeter barrel and an already upgraded plunger tube. Another main difference that both of these blasters have from the original Valkyrie is the mag release. The mag release on the Valkyrie is ambidextrous because normally you push this little part forward and it disengages the angle talon mag. But since both of these blasters don't work with angle talon mag, they have their own mag release. A down point for the Gia G01, the mag release is only this small button, only on one side, not ambidextrous, while on this Fire Phoenix we got a standard lever ambidextrous center plane mag release. Then the G01 got Picatinny rail for the priming grip, while the Fire Phoenix got a one-piece priming grip. That means if something happened to this priming grip, your blaster is toast, and that is kind of an issue for me at this point. So for the Gia G01, this is a good point. You got Picatinny rail under there. Then come the length. They seem like the same length almost, but they look like they got a good difference in that area. That's because they basically cut this mag well, elongated it a bit to bring it there. But then you're gonna see me, the pusher might change. No, the pusher is identical. Pusher on the Valkyrie and on the G01 enters the dart gate by 3/4 of an inch almost, with two O-rings sealing the air. On this one, it's the same pusher, but it's only using the first O-ring at the tip to seal your dart in. But the more space you have is because this blaster is designed around not half dart, but 3/4 dart, to make the Fire Phoenix maybe less of a direct clone, while this one It's basically a half-dart blaster like a Valkyrie with its own magazine. Speaking of magazine, none of those work with angle talon. Even the Sembilan Valkyrie, which is not another legit Valkyrie, will not use regular talon magazine. For the G01, you got those small clear magazine that look halfway like a Talon and halfway like the first gen of the S200 magazine, which were not that good. And I'm not sure how many drop those can survive. Plus, the quality is not equal. I got two of those magazines. One of them is almost unusable. The one that was coming with the blaster is almost unusable. There is some little pin that are scratched inside. And that's kind of a bummer because the blaster, I like it very much. It is very heavy. This blaster is more heavy than the Xing Shen. And it doesn't show like that. The Xing Shen really surprised me when I had it in hand during my review. But yeah, this one is more heavy, probably because of the three big metal rod that runs through the body, like the 3D printed one, because it has the Valkyrie 3D printed blaster. This one is built in section and assembled together with pins. All of those sections are composed of two-part shell that are already screwed together. This is a halfway like a 3D printed one and halfway like an injection molded one. While the magazine on this Fire Phoenix are a little longer, a little wider than a regular half dart because they are made for 3/4 dart. But they accept half dart rather easily and they operate rather flawlessly with them inside. Plus the quality of those magazines. I have to say, quality wise, those magazines are way higher than those. The only bad point I will say about those magazines is they are not clear. You don't really have any reference, the follower or nothing as to how many darts do I have left inside. So you need almost to take a guess. That's kind of a bummer, but otherwise, this magazine is way better quality than this one. I will not be afraid to drop those. Those I would never dare to drop them. Plus, this blaster is built more like a standard injection molded shell. It's only two half put together with like two little caps screwed on each side. And there is this handle, which is basically clipped around it. That's the main problem when it comes to opening this blaster. But it can be done. Performance-wise, they are really similar. Price-wise, I mean, on a regular price, yeah, they are almost the same. This one being slightly cheaper than this one. Or if you are lucky enough to have another vendor, you all saw my review. I had this one for quite a bargain compared to a G01 or any other Valkyrie variant. So this one could be a good option. Maybe a better one. I know that the plunger and I know that the pusher is very good quality, but I know that the plunger might be a little weak on this one and might need upgrading. But as the cylinder are identical on both and the pusher are the same length, I don't see why anything would stop us from buying a CNC part for the Gia or for the Sembilan and install them into this blaster. The only thing maybe stopping you from doing that would be not being able to remove this handle. I mean, if I want to put a scar, none of them can accept a scar barrel because this one doesn't have the right diameter. You would need to change it, but you can because there is two screws underneath to remove the barrel. That's what holds the barrel in. While on the Fire Phoenix, if you remove this little cap, this barrel will gravity drop. You will just fall down. So that's the cap that's holding everything, meaning you can't put a scar on it. It will have to be down to the chronograph because accuracy wise they are pretty much the same. Ergonomically wise, I kind of prefer the grip on this one. It's a little higher on the barrel and it's more firm, but having a good angle foregrip maybe on this one would help for the priming. I'm not a big fan of those small straight foregrip, plus I would need to move it a little notch further because you hit your thumb here when you prime where it's not happening on this one. Chrono test for the Valkyrie clone compare. This is the Gia G01 with 10 Bamboo 1.0 inside. Well, pretty consistent, 168.9 average, 164.3 minimum, 171.5 maximum, and 170-ish shot. Yeah, that is pretty cool. That was the Gia G01 on Bamboo 1.0. Same test, 10 Bamboo in the Fire Phoenix. Well, what do you know? We got one a little above for the maximum at 175, the other one was 171.5, but the average is virtually identical. That is, yeah, weird. They are really clone of the same blaster. Huh. So in the end, G01, Fire Phoenix, as I showed you, or I tried to show you, this is not that simple. They each have their good point and their bad point. And they might need you to work as much in one or another to get them modified. Because as one is quite simple to open, and to maintain, which is the G01, this one will ask some effort and some conviction just to open it, because this handle is not fun to fight with. First, let's go with the Gia G01. Small CQB, pump action, Springer, as I showed you. Really maintainable. Pretty much everything will be easy to disassemble. Go inside, replace part if you buy some upgrade parts, some CNC part to put inside this. There might be a way to shave that mag well, or to adapt an angle talon mag, or just to take your angle talon mag and make a small hole where this notch is, to be sure it fits in that mag well, and shave it a bit, and you should be able to put them in with modification. This is pretty straightforward, and everything look like it can be dismantled on it and dash or replace, except maybe the barrel. You will need to fit the barrel maybe with a 3D printed adapter, or just some tape to fit a standard 16 by 13 millimeter barrel inside this thing if you want one, or maybe a longer one to be able to put a scar. But that is doable. This is a maintainable platform, and what you're paying for the blaster is worth it, because you will use this blaster and maintain it and use it over and over and over. The only maybe thing that will draw me from this platform is the magazine, not because they are not angle talon. I can survive without that, and I'm sure I can adapt them, but because the quality of the magazine itself is a little doubtful. I mean, if I drop those, I would be very scared that they will split in half. They are kind of made like the first generation S200 magazine, which were very bad. Nonetheless, the rest of the blaster is amazing. The performance are there. 170 average on Bamboo 1.0 dart. I did 10 dart to make an equal test with the Fire Phoenix. Now, with this Fire Phoenix, First thing first, this is a $50 blaster. Very hard to beat on the market for the way it is constructed. Yes, it is not as sturdy as the Gia G01 because there is no metal rod inside. But this one, like I said earlier, it's not made to copy a 3D printed blaster and to assemble it in plastic. They adapted the principle of the Valkyrie to a two-part shell, a regular blaster shell, but it's really, really thick and sturdy, making this one having almost a better feel than the G01 Valkyrie, because my Gia G01 is red, and that red is kind of easy to scratch. This one is bare plastic. It is very, very smooth, very, very thick. Nothing is flexing, even in the straight part where the barrel is. I mean, even my handle, I broke the pin when I split it open, and those posts are really made like screw posts. I was able to make myself screw hole to use them as screw posts, and now I can reclose my handle. The only thing shaking inside the handle is the little metal piece that moved to make weight. Otherwise, my handle is fixed and nothing moved there. Then, as I said, the priming grip. It is a one piece with the priming member, which would scare me. If something happened with this grip, the blaster is done. That worries me. The stock itself and the priming bars on it feel more finished and almost better quality than the G01. So that's a good point. Plus, those magazines. This is not Engel Talent quality, but we are close, and the material they made, it's a little flexible, but it put me to confidence that I could just throw them at the other end of the field and nothing would happen to my magazine. And they even got this little cap at the end. I really like those magazines, except the fact they are not standard half-length, Talent, blah blah blah. They are 3/4 dart, and those 3/4 dart or 2/3 of a dart are the one that come with this blaster. For the $50 version, you got 100 of those. They are not so bad dart. They got good head, and I cut some to use into half dart, and they are good. But I like to use them in this blaster because they fit and they come with it. But I gotta tell you, those two blasters are quite amazing. They got exactly the same performance, exactly the same design, they got the same origin. One is more close to the source material, one got more, maybe a little more creative with the longer dart, but it still worked flawlessly with half dart. I mean, it will really depend on your need and your budget, but there's always a warm place in my heart for a very, very cheap blaster that performs like a ton of brick. Hopefully that kind of answered the question. That's it for this video. In the meantime, you can always follow me on Facebook and Instagram at @ThatOldNerveGuy. Please leave a like and comment, subscribe for more content. Don't forget to hit that bell to notify for my latest video. This was Dave Fatag. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.